I'm going to show you how the spinner feature works in Pixamattic, and this is super cool because what it allows you to do is create 10 different designs from any one design. And so it sort of multiplies. It's almost like having your own army of outsourcers or graphic designers creating multiple versions of things. And so it's great for your own use to create unique graphics. And if you have the developer license, obviously for clients as well. So first thing we have to start with is a design. So whether or not you use the existing templates in there, or if you decide instead to create your own, that doesn't really matter. What matters is the process that you follow will work like this. So once you have the design in there, the first thing you have to do before you can spin it is you have to save it to the cloud. So we're going to click save. And you can enter a tag, whatever you want. I'm just going to put in test or whatever. Once it's saved, now you can spin it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on where it says spin over here. And this is available at all levels. So while you may have some or not some features in the software, the spinner is available at all member levels. And so you have options on what you want to spin. Okay, so you can spin backgrounds. Now, the way backgrounds work are, it's specific to the niche. So if I do select all, the only backgrounds that are going to spin on this are general and this exact niche that it's in. So this is a health and fitness template. And so all these other ones will be ignored because it isn't going to make sense to have this graphic with a retailer shopping background. And so the software is smart. It'll automatically only spin it with backgrounds that are the same. Now, if you decide instead you just want it to be general, okay, the general backgrounds, to give you an idea, are largely patterns and they're things that don't have photos. All right, so they're not specific to a niche. They're more general and can work for any particular niche. You could also do just the health and fitness in this case, but if you're not sure what niche this is, or you just want to spin the whole thing, you can do select all, okay? You could also spin the font. Now the font is just the typeface itself. Has nothing to do with size or color or anything else. It's just the font itself. You can also do the text color, or you could do either one or both. So if you just want to change the font, but you always want it to be white, then you could just check this. If you want to change the colors as well, you can check that as well. For elements, you have lighting, shapes, overlays, frames, photos, transparent illustrations, and icons. Now, you can get an idea of what these are by going over here when you're making a design and clicking on elements. You'll see drop downs for each of these. Okay, if you choose to spin, now it's important to note not every one of these elements is going to be in every design. Okay, this design looks like it has a shape or an overlay, text, and a background. So if I go in here and I go, let's spin illustrations, it isn't going to change the design because there aren't any illustrations on it. Now, it doesn't hurt you to check this. If you're unsure, you can check them all. But otherwise, what you want to do is you just want to check the thing that you want to change or you want to spin. So let's just do, for the first one, we'll just do the font and we'll do the shapes. So I'm going to assume that this little diamond thing is a shape. If it happens to be an overlay, we'll find that out in a minute. So if I click done, then what will happen is it takes a minute, so you need to be patient, depending on how many people are doing it. The server has to do a lot of processing in order to create all the different designs. So just be patient, give it a minute to create, and then it's going to show you previews of all the designs it made right down here. Okay, so now you can click on any of these to see the preview of it. Okay, so you can see what it did was it changed the design, and it changed the shape, and it maintained the opacity, or transparency rather, of the actual shape. And so whatever characteristics you used, it matches the size, and it also matches the transparency. It also changed the font, as you can see. All right, so for surfing is an optical illusion, these are multiple different font text layers. And so that's why it created 3 different fonts, because This is a text layer, this is a text layer, this is a text layer. All right, so if we click on this one, you'll see that this one came out a little bit different as well. And then if we click on this one, you can see that you were able to create a variety of different designs. Now, the background stayed the same in all these. So let's go and let's try something else. Let's go to Get. And let's click the pencil. So we bring our original design back in. All right, now, if we want to spin this again, we can click Spin. And this time, let's leave the font the way it is. Let's leave the shape the way it is, and let's just do the backgrounds. Now, if I click Done, what'll happen is it's gonna leave that little diamond shape in the middle, and it's gonna leave the text in the middle, exactly the way it is, and then it's gonna change the backgrounds. And so it'll give us a variety of different looks and feels that way. Okay, so now you can see these are general backgrounds. It's random whether or not you get the niche backgrounds or the random. Okay, so you can see most of these are general backgrounds. You'll see what I mean by they're just colors, textures. These are not specific to any niche, obviously. Okay, and then this one here is more specific. All right, so you'll get a random sampling. If you didn't want general, then you need to just choose the one niche that it is. Okay, you can unselect general and it will change that. So I'll show you that as well. If I were to do this and this, and let's say I only wanted photo backgrounds, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Spin, and this time I'm going to do all, but I'm going to take out general. Okay, so now it's only going to do whatever niche this matches with. So you don't need to know the niche. You can just select them all except general, and then you can spin it again. Just remember that each time you do a new spin, you need to get it from the cloud. You need to retrieve it from the cloud each time. So that way it's using the base design. All right, now you can see they're all photos, right? Because we chose not general, but just the niche backgrounds. And you can see now, while the quote is about surfing, I'm showing you this for the idea, okay? If this was something about, athletics or about fitness, it would make perfect sense because you'd have all of these things in here. All right, but that's basically how the spinner is going to work for that. Now, a couple of other important notes with regard to using this. First of all, for each of these designs, they do not automatically save. All right, so let's say I decide, I really like the way this one came out. So I can go ahead and save that. And I can tag that also. And you can tag them all as the same if they're the same type of design and spins of the same design. Now, if I like this one too, I can click on this one and I can save it. Let's say I click this and I say, you know what? I don't really like that. That's fine. I don't have to save it. Now, what the best way to do this, right, is to save all of these that you're going to want to edit before you edit any of them, so you don't lose the other designs. So once you've spun it, if you like this one and that one, load each of those into the designer, save them, and then you'll be able to get them back from the cloud to edit them. But it's important to note that you can edit any of this, okay? So just because we've spun it doesn't mean now that it's one static image. You could go ahead and edit this. This created a whole nother template for us. So that's what's beautiful about this, because now all of these spun designs are also editable, which is super, super cool and makes it a really powerful software tool, because you can see that if you were to start with, say, 10 different designs, you could literally make hundreds or even thousands in one day by just spinning it and then editing those spins to whatever you wanted to edit. Now, a couple of other important notes about the spinner. There's a lot of temptation to want to spin everything. Okay, I want to do this, so I'm going to click spin, and I want really good design, different designs, so I'm just going to check everything. Okay, now you can do this, but I'm going to tell you in advance, it's not the way to get the best results, because it's going to spin so much that some of the final designs are not going to make a lot of sense. Now in this one, because we only have a shape, text, and a background, it might not be as bad. But on some of them where there's several layers and there are several shapes and an overlay and a photo and then the backgrounds and the text, you're going to find that some of the spun designs don't make any sense or they don't look good. That's because the design is to give you the power to spin anything and everything, but it isn't recommended that you do that for every single one of them. You can see that some of these don't look quite as good. Okay, you have all these different colored texts. You have, all these different fonts. You have different backgrounds and so on. So experiment with it, have fun with it, play with it, but understand that the most effective way to use it is to go ahead and spin one or two factors at a time to create multiple designs. And you'll see that it's a super, super powerful tool for creating awesome graphic designs.